This is my fourth episode on my platform, Self Growth Sessions, and this time our guest is going to be George Kleeman. He is a firefighter and an entrepreneur. He's also been an assistant manager and a store clerk at Shopping Safe. Aside from his work, he has many certificates in a broad range of categories. A few of them include ice rescue technician and rope rescue technician. I believe George has a lot of great insight for people who are at a tough spot in their lives and for first-time small business owners. But with all that great stuff aside, here he is.
Thanks for having me, Rolando.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you this morning?
Pretty good. I woke up, I came here, I did a light leg workout, and then I came in this room to set up the video equipment.
This is an awesome setup that you have.
Thanks, George.
Yeah.
This room is great too. It's like there's like a bag and then there's some yoga stuff. I really like it.
Yeah, our main purpose behind this room was to kind of like just have an all-in-one area, because the gym itself overall is not a huge gym, so we needed a spot that multiple things could be done in. So it works well for this. Yeah.
I like that. With the gym, what was the process like of actually trying to create Kilter?
It was long and somewhat grueling at times. There was a lot of little details that had to come together for it. The thought process actually started years ago when the local gym that was here in town closed down. And I started to watch some of the effects that had on some of the people that had attended that particular facility. And I started to realize that having a healthy place to be was so important. And not everybody has that opportunity at home or in their personal lives. So that kind of became our mission, both myself, my sister Rachel, my wife Amy, and my mom was a big part of it too, actually. And then, of course, all the other people that supported us along the way. The details along the way, I'll spare you all of those. One of the biggest things that we had to overcome in the process was finding a location that worked. There wasn't a lot of commercial space available. And so when this building became available, we kind of jumped at that opportunity. So, yeah.
Finding a location, did you, like, in the back of your mind, did you always know that it'd be here, or did everything just happen by chance?
I don't know if things happen by chance, you know what I mean? I think there's always a reason behind everything. I drove by this building many, many times after it had been kind of shut down from the last business that was in here. And it was actually unoccupied for quite a few years. And every time I drove by, I would look at it and go, man, that would be a perfect spot. It just wasn't available though. And then the right people got involved, and the right person purchased the property, and he was awesome to work with, Joe. And it just kind of went from there. Yep.
What was some of the hardest things that you came across, like when you were trying to actually bring the equipment in and just build the gym overall?
I think probably one of the most difficult things was my own fears, doubts, and insecurities. And my family really helped me overcome those, and all of the people in the community too. This place wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my family and for the people in the community that have supported us. The physical things of it, building it and moving the equipment in, there was all sorts of challenges with that, of course. But there were little encouragements along the way that just kind of kept me knowing that, even through, again, my own fears, doubts, and insecurities, that, okay, I think I'm on the right track. I'm not sure what the end result is going to look like completely. I have a vision that I believe truly my higher power put in my mind, and I just followed that to the best of my ability.
I see, that's pretty cool. And as a business owner, you're the last line of defense. How do you go about dealing with the challenges that tend to arise?
I don't deal with them on my own. I have a great team that works with me, but again, my kind of partners in crime, Rachel and Amy. I'm always talking to my mom, whether it's on FaceTime or sitting in the cabin with her. And then the people, again, a lot of these questions, it all boils back to a supportive community. And there's so many people down here that they kind of notice. They're studies of human behavior, they're students rather of human behavior, and they kind of watch, and they know when you're having a rough day, and they'll encourage you, and they'll just share a story with you that just kind of, I don't know, gives you that next push to kind of go through. I'm just like everybody else. I probably don't handle stress any better than anyone else. I try to work out consistently. That helps, of course. Exercise, fitness, eating right, getting as much rest as possible, all of those things. But I would really say that overall, it's the people around me that support me, that help me get through those times. You know?
Wow. It just really shows you the power of a community.
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding.
I've noticed that you're very open to criticism. In what ways has that helped you be able to make Kilter a better gym?
Well, I am a true believer that sometimes ego is a good thing if you have the right type, but oftentimes it gets in your way. And I've always been taught, especially in the medical field, in my other profession, that you never know where your answers are going to come from. And it could be, in that particular job that I do at the fire department, if you're on a call sometime in the middle of the night and there's a kid sitting over in the corner and he's looking at you and he's trying to communicate with you, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, again, you just never know where those answers are going to come from. He might have a solution that none of your team has come up with. So I've learned over the years to listen to people. Even if initially you don't think it's a good idea, maybe there's a reason they're standing in front of you. And maybe it doesn't matter if you think it's a good idea. Maybe it is, and you need to do it because there's a reason that person is there,
I really like that.
Yep.
I kind of see a similar vision like you know what I mean? I feel like everyone has a lot of knowledge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible to know everything.
Absolutely.
And when you talk to different people, you can gather those ideas and perhaps, I'm sure, improve the gym.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of these things here and these ideas and the types of equipment we have was not because of me. It was because of other people's influence and input. Yeah, definitely.
When you close Kilter, how are you doing emotionally?
It was rough. There was kind of two sides to it, right? So we had been going nonstop since we found out that we were going to be able to be in this building, and we started to renovate it and do all the work that was required and get the equipment in, and then all the administrative side of things too, on trying to figure out how to develop the business and get our business plan together and all those kind of things. So we had been going nonstop with that, and we were tired, So on the one hand, it was scary, to have to close the business, and we were thinking, what's going to happen? Are we going to be able to open back up again, right? So all of those things that you would think would be scary were. But on the other hand, it was like a break, and everything just kind of came to a screeching halt, and it got quiet. And it actually gave us time to kind of rest and recuperate that we had not had prior to that. So as many businesses have suffered through all of this, and we did take a loss, financially, as I'm sure everyone else in the area did as well. It was almost an opportunity for us to take a breather. But I am eternally grateful that we are open now again, and that we opened when we did. And we were able to move forward. And again, it boils back down to community. And I keep saying that, I sound like a broken record, but the people just were so supportive of us, and I am grateful for that.
I've definitely noticed that too, especially in the gym. I see people, they really try and wipe down equipment ever since you guys put up those signs. Yep. Sometimes they forget, but I can tell it's not intentional, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
They just really care about the growth of the gym.
Yep.
And it's very obvious.
Yeah. A lot of good people. Definitely.
When you created Kilter, how did that change you as a person?
I don't know. I mean, obviously all experiences develop us, grow us one way or the other, right? I had this mission that I was on, right? And one of those missions, or that mission, was I wanted people, again, like we talked about earlier, to have a healthy place to be, to have healthy influences. I was kind of tired of seeing people end up in the back of an ambulance in front of me that were suffering from preventable disease. And I wanted to make sure that we had a place in our community that could help maybe in that mission. And that's always kind of been that driving force. And there are a few others too. But that's always kind of been that driving force. So the very core values that have driven me forward in this mission, and Rachel and my wife and my mom and everybody else that's helped us, I don't think those have really been shaken or stirred, so to speak. And without them, I feel that this wouldn't be as successful, right? Because it's trying to project a certain type of environment that's neutral, safe for people to be in. So overall, in the grand scheme of things, those things for me have not changed. But on kind of a more superficial level, you know, I've learned how to work with people better. I've learned how to be a better listener. You know, I've learned that even though, you know, certain things are just frustrating when they happen, sometimes it's for the best. And I learn from those experiences, and I get better because of them. So those types of things definitely have helped me improve, right? Just being kind of immersed in this environment and in having to deal with it. Like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, that, you know, last line of defense. Here's a problem, you got to deal with it. How are you going to do that? Well, you can either have a nervous breakdown, or you can cope with it and figure it out. And making decisions, and that's the last thing I'll mention on that question, is sometimes the hardest thing to do in life is to make a decision. It's easy to think about all the different options that you could have and explore them and research them, but ultimately, eventually, you have to make a decision. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do, because you have that fear of, is this the right thing to do? But I will tell you, at least in the types of work that I do, not making a decision is always worse than maybe making the wrong one initially, realizing that, recuperating from that, and moving forward in the right path.
I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you have a very strong desire to want to help people. Was this something that you instilled in yourself, or was there people in the environment that kind of pushed that onto you?
I've mentioned my mother quite a bit. She has always been a big proponent of, in helping others, you help yourself, you know. And I think that, you know, in growing up, listening to her speak, and she just always had that positive mindset. And she was always willing to reach out to people. She's a big time active member in our local church, and has just always, just always pushed that mindset on us. So I think that's probably a big part of it. And then she also always just encouraged us to surround ourselves with the right types of people, you know. And one thing she always said was, you know, if somebody makes you better, don't drain them, you know. Try to be that energy source that they can be better with, and then you can thus be better being, you know, with them being around you. And if somebody drains you and, you know, they're kind of one of those energy leeches, get away from them. Somebody makes you sick, get away from them, you know? So I've always tried to kind of pay attention to that too. But in doing that, it allows us to kind of, again, set ego aside and see that person, that even just that one individual that's suffering, and try to reach out to them and help them.
In high school, I'd say, sometimes there's a lot of rabbit holes that you can go down. Do you think the mindset that your mother gave you kind of helped you from going down those rabbit holes?
I think it was consistency, right? So like when we're doing any type of physical fitness training, or, you know, or nutrition control or anything like that, we always talk about consistency in our training. That's how you get somewhere, right? And I think it was her consistency in always being there and chatting with us. And I recognize in saying this that, you know, not everybody has, that person is different for everyone, right? And sometimes that person might not even be like, you know, a physical, that type of source in somebody's life might not even be an actual person standing there. It might be themselves. You know, they might read self-help books or go online and look at videos because maybe they don't have that opportunity. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. but I think other people do just as well, if not better, having to kind of do that on their own. And I admire those people and I respect those people. But again, it's all about consistency. I believe that those people get to where they are and they become successful in life, whatever your definition of that is, by just being consistent and just driving forward, not giving up.
Mm. Is your mother your biggest role model then?
I would say there's very few people in life that I respect a lot of people and I admire a lot of people. But there's very few people that I have observed in my life that have a constant source of just never-ending goodwill that she does. And I'm sure most people think that about the people that they love in their life. So obviously I'm biased towards her. Mm-hmm. But yeah, yep.
That's great. That's great. When you were working at Shop and Save, when you were an assistant manager, the clerk, did you gain a lot of insight that you brought to Kilter Fitness?
It was definitely helpful. Yes, yeah. I learned a lot of just kind of basic principles on how to manage a team, or not to manage a team, but to lead a team. I was fortunate. The gentleman who was the owner at the time, Greg Gorski, he put a lot of time and effort into myself, as he did many other people there, in helping us understand how people work and how to manage them the best and all of those types of things. Yep.
That's great. What is your current vision for Kilter Fitness?
Our current vision for this, and when I say our, I mean all the people that participate down here, because it wouldn't happen without everybody, is truly to promote better health and housing in our communities. When we started Kilter, it wasn't just supposed to be a gym. It was supposed to be all those things we've talked about, safe and sober place for people to be without pushing a particular mindset. But it also, hopefully long term, once we kind of get this established and it's rolling smoothly, is to be able to do more public outreach and to go into the communities that we are welcomed into and help promote better housing situations, to put people into people's homes that maybe are restricted to their homes for one reason or another, and try to start to bring health to people in that manner. So I'm a true believer that you don't have to necessarily, maybe I'm kicking myself in the foot for saying this, but you don't have to come to a gym to be okay in life. You don't have to go to a particular organization or a particular building. You don't have to do that. That okayness comes from inside you, and sometimes you just need somebody to show you that you have it. And that's what we want to do for people.
I really like that too, of not trying to push a particular mindset.
Yep.
Because on social media and even in the schools too, like we see all these influencers trying to push this narrative.
Yep.
Oh, you have to work out, you have to wear this, this, and that. But you guys, you're clear on your vision, but you're not really. It's not like a one road thing. It's like multiple roads.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's huge.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that was very interesting, all those things you said, and I'm glad that you were able to come on the show.
Thank you for having me, Rolando.
Yeah,
I
anytime.
appreciate it.
That was the end of the show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. George shared a lot of great insight about business and pushing through emotional things, and I hope you guys can find value from it and perhaps use it to better your lives.